almost there, and we have an amazing session to finish off the day with. And please, the people in the back, just keep it down. I'm about to call our speaker onto stage. Let's invite Sophie Morris, Chair of the European Sponsorship Association, who will be moderating the session with 2 more speakers, keeping the convo flowing and showcasing a presentation. Warm round of applause, please. Clippers Day.
Am I on mic? I am now. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for staying for the last session. I am willing to take bribes to finish early so you can all hit the bar, but thank you for staying. We'll get through the full programme. I am Sophie Morris, Chair of ESSA, European Sponsorship Association. I'm also co-founder of SponsorView, which is Sponsor Satisfaction Research and Measurement, and I sit on the board of the Institute of Sport Business at Loughborough University, where I also teach. I am going to share with you a bit of information, some research that we gather at ESSA, and then I'm going to bring on my 2 panellists to dig into some of that detail. So I can tell you that we have some ESSA members currently in the room, but I'm aware that most of you might be hearing about ESSA for the very first time. So please allow me to briefly introduce you. So ESSA is the European Sponsorship Association. We are the essential and inclusive community for all professionals working in sponsorship. We exist really to inspire more successful sponsorship, to drive confidence in decision making, and to grow a more diverse community. And we do this through creating events and resources, by world-leading education, creating industry connections, and the recognition of excellence. We are also a non-profit member association. We have members all across Europe and beyond, actually. And here's just a few little slides, not a lot of detail, but just to give you an idea of what we do. So here are a few of our events coming up. We hold events in person. Lots of them are in London, but also around cities all around Europe, and they are all also live streamed. We hold the ESSA Annual Awards. And I've put this one up here because if any of you have a sponsorship that you are very proud of, then please consider submitting it to the ESSA Awards. The deadline is not far away. 17th of October is next Friday. So please visit our website, which is sponsorship.org, sponsorship.org, to submit any awards that you have for excellent sponsorships that gets recognised at the event in March. And finally, we have an education arm, from an introduction to sponsorship for those brand new to the industry, right through to an ESSA diploma, which is about an 8-month course with clearly a full qualification at the end. Now, this is a QR code warning, so anyone who is familiar with QR codes and has an app ready to take a screenshot, then have a look at this. If you want to find out any more information about ESSA, please take that QR code. You'll find a range of resources there. Some are available publicly, some are member only. Also, I would encourage all of you to sign up to be an ESSA associate. That's completely free of charge. It does give you access to some extra benefits, including some of our award case studies. And should anyone want to become an ESSA member from this conference, we are delighted to offer a 20% discount to anyone who is here today if you sign up in the next month. So that's my sales pitch done, but one of the key resources that we provide is Sponsorship Trends Report. This is where we ask all of our members every year for the factors that they think are going to be critical to the sponsorship industry and in fact the growth of the sponsorship industry in the year ahead. We accumulate all of those answers and we produce a top 10 list. I'm going to very briefly take you through that top 10 now, and then I'm going to ask my panel to join me on stage to get into the detail. So again, if you like taking pictures, here's a quite deep slide for it. This is our top 10 sponsorship trends. The little icon or the number to the right of each label you see, that indicates its movement from the previous year. So in the number 1 slot, we have ESG, that's environment, social and governance. This is in the number 1 slot by a very large margin, a huge margin, and it has been the number 1 slot every year for about the past 6 years, 7 years that we've been doing the research. In fact, the only year it hasn't been number 1 was the COVID year, when clearly things like sustainability had a very different meaning to them. The label has changed over time. The ESG label has only been quite recent in our research in the findings. So in the first 3 or 4 years that we did the research, the word sustainability was very much the prominent factor. But now we are seeing this combined phrase of ESG. AI, we've talked a lot about it today already. You can see it's in our second place. That has moved up 1 position. It came into the trends for the first time last year, and it is the only kind of tech innovation-based trend to make it to a second year in our data. So things like VR, AR, Web3, NFTs, crypto, they all came in for 1 year and then disappeared out of the trends again. So AI is the only one to last a second year, and I will be very interested to see if it can overtake ESG in our data next year or not. In third place, we have women's sport. That's jumped up quite a few places. This is a bit of a bumper year for women's sport, so it might be, let's say, artificially high this year, but we certainly expect to see it in the top 10. Clearly a key area for growth, but also still with its challenges, particularly around equality with the men's versions of sport. Then we have measurement, a very interesting one. It's pretty much always in our top 10. The placing seems to differ every year, but it's quite an interesting factor in that it's clearly very important. It's there every year. But other research that we have, and I always quote research from an agency called MKTG, who produce another survey every year. And the last data I saw on this, it's about 2 years old, but it tells us that the percentage of people in the sponsorship industry who are not at all confident in measuring sponsorship or who do not measure sponsorship has gone up from 1/4 to 1/3. That's a third of the industry not at all confident or not measuring sponsorship. And the number who are very confident falling by a similar amount. So there's clearly a bit of a problem here and something that we might come on to later. The next label is a few labels rolled into one. We have cause, purpose, CSR, and community. And we include all of these because these are the phrases that come out in the research. But we feel they're sufficiently similar to include them in one label, but also sufficiently different from ESG to pull them out as their own factor and to be able to chart that progress. We have experiential activation, so very much meaning the in-person activation rather than digital. And we are seeing this now rise as we sort of fully recover from the COVID era. I know it seems a million miles away, but it's really not. Digital activations obviously rose to the top during that time when we had no other choice. But now we see in-person activations increasing in the importance of our trends data. Audience engagement, obviously being kind of the umbrella factor that falls into. So the increasing need for audience engagement, not only from the sporting rights holders for their own means, as we've heard a lot about today, but also the ability to pass on that engagement to their partners. So that's always on our list. Then we have data, very broad and much broader than just measurement, and this can be fan engagement data, this can be player performance data, anything that sponsors can use within their activations. Talent is a really interesting one, and you'll see it's joint ninth, so we strictly don't have a 10th place. And there's 2 areas that we look at with talent. One is around the sort of business talent, if you like, so the people within your organizations, and then the other is the ambassadors, the influencers, the athletes, the artists, the performers, and how they are playing a role in sponsorship. And interestingly now, digital first talent. So they might not be actually involved in your sport. They're on social media first, but they have become a sufficient influencer to be used by sponsorship. And finally, digital, again, something we've heard a lot about today, both in terms of the content side of things and also innovation. So from a sort of a business infrastructure point of view as well as content. So that rounds off our top 10. I told you I would keep it brief. So now we are going to look in a bit more detail, and I would love to invite Ariana from Bus for Fun and Danielle from Riot Games to the stage. Please help me welcome them. Thank you so much for joining us. So firstly, before we get into the trends, please tell us a little bit more about you, your area of work, and what you do. And Arianna, we do have a slide for you as well, I think.
Is it yeah. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Marianna Cottonaro, International Strategic Operation Manager from Bassorfan. I have some slides here, only two, to explain you what is Bassorfan. I suppose that not a lot of people here knows this company. It's an Italian company, a mobility company that was born in 2015. We celebrated last week our 10th anniversary. And we plan and manage mobility during mass events. This means concerts, fairs, sports events. All we do is to try to improve the experience from home to the event. And we have two models, the one for the B2C, that is for spectators, so we bring people to live live the event by bus, always is bookable by our platform, and on the other side we have this B2B approach in which we collaborate directly with event organizers and federations to organize all the logistics parts, all the transportation solutions from airports, hotels to competition venues, center, etc. So yeah, this is Bassorfan, and can you please go to the other one? Yeah, here you have some example. The first one on the top left is a picture from the Open Golf, because we are we manage different sports events, not only football. We have golf. The central one was in Mugello. The top right is an arena in Italy that hosts more than 100,000 people, and we manage the mobility for all the spectators by bus, by train. And here we have an example of our technology, because as I said, it's not only buses, but it's public transportation, train, shared transportation, parking lot reservation, etc. So yeah, and the second one, I bring you an example of our mobility plan, because as I said, when we collaborate with federations and event organizers, we plan, we analyze all the different needs of the community, of the events, and we create the right, and we optimize the transportation system. Okay.
Cool, thank you, that's amazing. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm Daniel, I'm part of Riot Games. Riot Games is one of the biggest gaming companies in the world, so I come from this side. We develop and publish games such as League of Legends, one of the most played games in the world, and also Valorant, which we have within our portfolio. We're also the biggest esports in the world, with the League of Legends competitions having millions of audiences during that see them in Asia, in Europe, in North America. And actually, we had a couple of events that happened in the last weekends. 2 weekends ago, we had in Madrid, in the competition, the finals of the LEC, the League of Legends EMEA competition, in the Caja Mágica, with over 30,000 fans that participated in the different days of the event, 3 days that we had over there. And also we had a big expo in the middle of the city, in Plaza España, where around 15,000 persons went and interacted with our content, with the different booths that we have for participating over there. And then this last weekend, we also had the Valorant Champions in Paris, where we had a big amount of fans cheering over there. I don't know if someone saw it, but it was an amazing match, 3-2, in which they almost came back. But we have millions of people watching this content and participating. So I'm in charge of all the partnerships that we have for EMEA, for the case of League of Legends. I've been in the company for 9 years, through different offices around the world, and experienced it. I'm happy to be over here and share a little bit like different opinions, a different thing that happens from the esports perspective, and which is something that is developing and continuing, like challenging the rules a little bit.
Thank you for the excellent introductions. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk around just the top 3 trends, because they're the top 3, and then we're going to dive into a couple of particular interest to Arianna and Daniel. So ESG first. What are your reflections on ESG being the top trend? Are you seeing that kind of high level of performance reflected in your part of the sponsorship world? Arianna, can I come to you first?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Buzzurfan, one of the pillars of Buzzurfan is sustainability. So it is strange because at the beginning, when we started 10 years ago, it was Buzzurfan that promoted the ESG importance during events and with the clients. And now are the clients that are asking us to be more green, to be more sustainable, to approach, to be more compliant with the ESG. So this is something that, of course, I'm really happy to see it at the top. And this is also something else that is changing, because usually the event organizers or stadiums are focused on players on the field, on T-shirts, and they don't remember that spectators need to arrive to the stadium. So the experience, and of course also the sustainability part, starts from home. So Buzzurfan is helping this event organizer to take care also of this part that is a big part of the event, because it's the starting point of the event and the experience.
Yeah, for us it's similar. When we talk about our audience, they are in their 20s. And when you start talking with the young people, sustainability is a very relevant topic, taking care of the environment. So in that way, we try to do everything sustainable. So that comes on the events that we develop, the amount of energy that we utilize, the partners that we work with, the vendors that we use to have like fair trade and to do it in a proper way. Also, been working that way with our partners, and for example, we had activations with KitKat in which they give the thunder sticks, the fan signs, and we check that all the materials are sustainable for the environment, and we can try to do it in that way. So for us, it's not like a trend, it's in a certain way like a minimum requirement that our audience demands it from us and from our partners in order to develop and engage with them. So that's why we say it. So probably it's going to be in the top 3 for the next 3 years or forever, I could say. And I see that's why it makes sense in terms of the research.
Ariana, did you want to come in?
No, I said we hope so. I mean, for the next years.
And you've both spoken mostly about the environmental side there. Do you see the other factors? Because actually, in the ESSA data, we do a separate piece of research where we ask around the importance of environmental sustainability. Whilst the environmental side is still the most important, the social element is catching up. So how do you see that either the social or the governance equally? Is environment very much the most important thing for you, or how do you see the split?
I go? Okay, I can start. What we try to do, and I could say how it's relevant for us, is that we develop the finals on certain locations and we make partnerships with the city. And what we try to do in this conversation or this partnership that we do with them is how can we transfer knowledge to the cities, to the students, to the authorities, to the communities, so they can also understand how to develop a career in gaming, in esports, as a pro player, as a broadcast manager, as an engineer, or any other like jobs that can be developed. So we see that one as a collaboration that we have with them, and that way we relate with the cities and with the community to try to give back and be part of them and development.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we talk about sustainability because environmental is the main part in our job, but I mean, it's the one that is more talked about, shared about. But also the social aspects for us are really important. In fact, we have a project called We the Fun that embrace new generations. We want to bring new generation to live sports live events in order not to create fun, but new sport people, new passion people of sports, because it's something that we need it. And so yeah, of course we create some agreements with sports events, with federations, and also with city to organize like buses to bring people, to organize bundle, ticket of the event, lunch, and buses to bring more people to see an event and create accessible and social event.
Thank you. And the final question on ESG, and I've had a few conversations already today actually where we say ESG, yes, we'd like to think it's most important, but you know, money talks as well. So what challenges do you face in ESG, always kind of thinking with a sponsorship lens if possible, and how do you think those challenges can be overcome?
I think that the main challenge is to go from intention to do something sustainability or social to do it, to have real actions and to measure it, because a lot of events, a lot of organizers always say we want to be green, we want to organize a zero CO2 emission event, but at the end, do we have reports? Do we have numbers? Do we have something to control actually if we are sustainable or not? This is for this reason that I always say that technology and that we use help the event organizer to control the CO2 emissions. I mean, shared transport is sustainable. We reduce traffic jam because people are not using the car. We can control the CO2 emission. So yeah, it's more about measure all the action that a club or a event organizer wants to create, to activate.
Yeah, what I could add is, how can we make it feel that it's organic and genuine, the interest from the brand or the company that is participating on this, and it doesn't feel like sports washing or something like that? How can we do it in that way? And I was thinking on two examples while thinking about the answer that we developed within the company. And the first one is that the company has a program called Karma, in which any employee can donate money to a certain NGO or whatever type of institution, and the company gives the same amount of money towards this institution. So that way, the company is not decided what's correct, what the fans are interested on or the employees are interested on. That comes from the community, and then the company supports it. So that's one way in which we do it. And the second one, there's another one in which we also raise funds throughout the game. If you purchase a determined skin of the game, that one goes into also like a fund that is given afterwards. And instead of us deciding to whom we give it, we give like several options, and then the community can vote for each one of them. So that way we try to make it like connected to the community, we try to make it related to their interests, and that way hopefully it resonates better and it creates a better impact.
Excellent, thank you. I'm going to move on to AI. I think we have to talk about AI because everyone else does, and it's number 2 on our trends, so we can't ignore it. But there are, and we in ESSA are seeing quite limited examples of AI in sponsorship activation, more so perhaps on the operations side of things. How do you see AI being used, if at all, either within your companies or outside? And where do you think more mainstream use or more innovation might come from? Daniel, can I come to you first?
Yeah, I can start with that one. Of course, AI, everybody's hearing about it, probably in all the panels that were talking about it. You see the news, NVIDIA with the big investments and everything. So I think we're still early in the development. We were talking about before when preparing the conference, like any good examples that we're seeing, and I think that still we don't have any of those ones. We're seeing at the moment like mainly the usage for analyzing data. So I followed La Liga a lot, and I see the analysis of the predictions of the goals by Microsoft. And I think that's a first usage in terms of how do we analyze the big amount of data and transform it into like something actionable and meaningful for the audience. That's one path that I think is going to be developed, and that one is immediate. Like next year, we're going to have like improvements and new things over there. But then what I'm looking forward to is like how AI is going to help us like build like immersive worlds in which the fans are going to be able to enter these new universes. Maybe you can enter the Bernabeu from your house and move around and see the matches, or different experiences around there that allow you as a fan to be part of the game, to be standing next to LeBron, to Michael Jordan, to whoever it is, and experience in that way. And that one powered by a certain brand that resonates with it and creating like these amazing universes.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think that we are still at an early stage when it comes to AI in sponsorship activations. It has a lot of potential. This morning someone said AI need to be trained. It's true, but also we need to learn how to use it properly in activations. I mean, most brands are exploring AI as a support for translation, creation of content, but not a lot of them are integrating it into activations, sponsorships. So yeah, as you said, something that is not only analysis of the results of the data, but also something more personalized messages, real-time interaction, something that the user can feel and can feel that he's watching the games, that the messages are for himself, not for everybody, something personalized. Can be good activations that I thought about it. So.
Excellent, thank you. And yeah, we think it's true. We are seeing really limited examples in pure sponsorship activation. In fact, the one that comes to mind from a couple of years ago was McLaren. I believe it was with their Formula E racing team and their partnership with Neom. And they asked the Neom apprentices to provide the inputs into AI in order to design the livery for their car. So they did this, and when the livery was presented to the humans that normally designed the car, they said, oh, it's a pretty good job, but it just doesn't look fast. A Formula E car has to look fast even when it's standing still. So the message that came from them was, it's great to be a part of it, great to include it, but we still need some human interaction. And in fact, if anyone was looking very keenly at the slides I presented earlier, you will have noticed that ESSA has an event on AI tomorrow. It is available to live stream. It's called AI's Impact on Fandom and Why Humans Still Matter. That's tomorrow afternoon, so it doesn't interfere with the program here. And I will share a link for that event in the social wall on the app. For any of you who are interested, you'll be able to sign up to the live stream. I'm going to keep us moving because time is always ticking. Women's sport. So as I mentioned, it's been a bit of a bumper year. Big tournaments in sport in terms of football and rugby, just to name but two. But the sponsorship side still seems to be lagging in terms of the number of deals, the value of deals, also on kind of broadcast coverage as well. What's your view on women's sport, women e-sport, and what do you think can be done to overcome the challenges that we see?
Yeah, I mean that it's natural. I mean, most brands and corporate wants to invest in something that it assure high visibility. So at the moment, men's football is the high visibility that someone can search of. But I mean, we sponsored some volleyball and basketball women's team, and why? Because we wanted to give them to grow with them. I mean, the value that the women's sports embrace are the values of Wasserfan, and we want to grow with them. So for me, corporates should invest more in long-term partnership to grow with women's sport and let women's sport grow. Because, I mean, these some values like, oh my God, that in women's sports are unique, and there are inclusions. We saw a lot of fans, passionate fans, not only because there is the stadium full that you're a fan, but it's something more from the heart. So it's different, the feelings. Okay.
I think you're right. Sorry, Daniel, before you come in, a lot of the research that we're seeing is that there might be fewer sponsors and it might be lower value, but the engagement that the sponsors get, not only from the athletes, if we're talking about sport, but also from the fans, is higher than it might be from the men's equivalent. So yeah, I think you're right there. Daniel, your view? Yeah,
jumping on that one, like in our case, we've developed competitions different for women. So we have it, Valorant was born with that like idea since the beginning, and then eventually League of Legends copied it, and this year we launched like the first competition of women in the case of EMEA, and it's very successful. It's participating, and people are doing women are participating a lot, and people are supporting it. And actually what I would say, and to put it on the headline, is that there's a big opportunity to engage over there, take ownership of these new initiatives and develop them. Because there's an audience that is looking for, that it wants to participate. Maybe the numbers at the beginning are not gonna be as high as they are in other competitions, but that means that you can become like a founding partner, take it, work on it, develop it together with the community. and get afterwards like the benefits of being the first mover and taking ownership of this. So it's a good time to start always and to do it, and because there's going to be a need, and that one is also going to be on your trends forever probably.
So thank you. And of course we saw from Ender from World Rugby the 24 commercial partners they had for their Women's Rugby World Cup. So at the top of the game, certainly the interest is there. I'm going to keep us moving. Experiential activations, so meaning in-person sponsorship activations, much higher up on our trends list than digital. Daniel, coming to you first, what are your reflections on that from both your audience but also your partners' needs?
Yeah, what we see, gaming of course is digital. We have hundreds of thousands of people or millions connecting, engaging and interacting with the brands. But this year we started developing more live events, and we see that people like it. People want to be over there, they buy the tickets immediately, we get sold out. We did 2 events in Madrid this year, 2 also in Paris additionally, and we see that even though you can experience as a fan everything online and you can connect to YouTube, to Twitch and watch everything, people want to go to the stadium, people want to cheer for the favorite player, for the favorite team, and they want to bring and live this experience. So experiential is very important. We all thought with COVID, like, no, we can stay at home and have like the same fan that we would have over there instead of going to a stadium. A stadium is not replaced at all. And the same happens with the sponsors. They value highly the amount of people that they can engage in person, the interactions, the experiences, the booths. Is creating these long-lasting memories that are gonna stay forever. Those amazing pictures that you see before, like they love it. And there's a lot of value that you can get on the numbers on digital, but experiential is very important, and it's part of the core that a brand is gonna be looking for, and they are willing, of course, to pay for it.
Yeah, Ariana, from your point of view, how you activate, how does in-person play a part?
Yeah, of course. Every time that we activate a sponsorship, we want to be an active partner. So what we do is to collaborate directly with the client, with the partner, and to propose some activities, some experiences. I mean, Bus for Fun is built by experiences. We want to bring people to see, to live an event. And the project that I mentioned you before, with the Fun project, has this aim. I mean, bring people to live experiential, to live new experiences. And I think that the mix between the digital interactions and the live event is the perfect combination that for the fans, for the new generation that wants to live live events. So, yeah.
So
really
a perfect combination. So would you put one as being more effective than the other, or do you say they're balanced?
Can I say? Oh, of course, for me, the live event, the experiences, the feelings that you live during an event are amazing. You can describe some events that I participated, the marathons. I never thought about a marathon to be, I mean, to touch my heart, because I mean, it's not like you have to set a point or something, but only see people arriving to the final point. It was amazing, and it's something that online you can't feel. I mean, talking with people, see people in the face. So for this reason, I think that it's a mix, because first you need to prepare people to the event, but then it's the event on site that brings all the feeling, the passion to the spectators.
And Daniel, which one is more effective if you can choose, or the same?
I mean, of course, in digital you can impact more people. It's impossible to put millions on a stadium, and I think they fulfill like different needs, different objectives, and of course you need like different strategies in order to approach them. So both are extremely valuable. The craziness that you have on a Twitch chat, where you see millions of people interacting, participating, and that level of engagement is like very interesting. But of course it doesn't replace, as we mentioned before, the experiences in the booths, the connecting with your friends. So it's like, how can you tailor the activations, the sponsorship deliverables that you want to develop to achieve the objectives that you want, and use like the best way in order to do it. So it's a combination of both.
Excellent, thank you. And measurement. So you would have heard me speak at the beginning. There's a very high percentage of people who are not confident or not measuring. So it's clearly a challenge in the industry. What are your reflections on that, or why do you think it's a challenge, and what are you doing particularly to measure effectiveness? Daniel, if I can come again.
Yeah, I can go with that one. So first, what we need to do is understand what's the objective of the partnership, what is the sponsor looking for, what is the definition of success, what are the KPIs, and why is important measurement, because of course we understand that we're creating value towards the sponsor, and this value is created by the rights holder, by the brand, by the fans, but of course that value that you're creating, you need to show and be able to demonstrate that you're doing it. And how do you track it? Because of course you as a right holder wants to demonstrate to the sponsor that you're doing it, but also the sponsorship manager or the marketing manager that you're talking to needs to justify the investment to his boss, to the CEO, to whoever it is. So that's why it's very relevant. We use multiple sources depending, as I mentioned before, the objective that we have. Usually what we use is, for example, we analyze the media values, the presence, together with Nielsen. So they are our source, and that way we do it through a third party that is able to support us and validate data. That's one thing that we do. We also do surveys that we can do it internally to our fans to understand the impact of the partnership, whether it's in the metrics of awareness, consideration, interest, trial, depending on what is. And then also, of course, we track the amount of registrations that we have, participations on the different activations, all the sales that we develop together with this partnership. So we try to get as multiple sources as we can to prove the value that we create to the partner, to satisfy the doubt that they were having, that 33% of not understanding what value they are getting out of it. So we can clearly communicate that it's good, the partnership that we're doing, that we are achieving hopefully the results that we wanted to do, and that way we can continue on a long-lasting relationship.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Ariana.
I agree. I mean, the measurement is one of our biggest challenges of everyone. And I always say that it's important to fix the KPIs before activating a partnership. I mean, you need to know what is your goal, what is the result that you want to achieve. And of course, it depends by your market, by your business, by your goal. I mean, if you want to open a country, I mean, now I told you that we are based in Italy, but we have offices in Spain, in Switzerland. We want to open France next year. And of course, if I want to open a country, my goal will be the brand awareness, for example. I mean, in France, nobody knows Buzz for Fun. In Spain, not a lot of people. So I will activate some sponsorships, some partnership that help me to be known in the country. In Italy, for example, we fix some KPI in different levels. I mean, I can invest in this partnership because I know that I will have a return on investment because I will sell buses, tickets, or I will invest in this partnership because it will open me doors, new deals, new contacts in Italy or in other countries. So it's difficult to measure this kind of results because are long-term results many times. But I mean, just thought before activating a partnership, what is your goal, and during the partnership to always have a goal to achieve. I mean, to control the effects of this partnership.
It sounds, for anyone not involved in sponsorship in the room who kindly stayed for this session, it might sound simple that, of course, you would understand the objectives and KPIs, but it's surprising how many partnerships exist that don't have those. I see it in my world as well. So yeah, it sounds simple, but not always the easiest thing. As we are approaching the end of our time together, so I might ask you both for your favourite sponsorship activation that is not one of your own, and why. Ariana?
Yeah, the first one that came up to my mind is the collaboration between Adidas and Parley for Oceans. It's something that I love because it's a partnership and sponsorship with purpose. They use the plastic of the oceans to create T-shirts, sneakers. It's something, they are not the ones that do it, I know, but it's the first one that came up to my mind. And I like it because it's not only visibility and communications and marketing, but it's something real actions, concrete actions that is sustainability, and I love sustainability. It's one of my main main topics. So yeah, this one could be an example for everyone.
Nice one. Daniel?
In my case, I love the collaboration of Heineken with Champions League. I remember always the example of an ad spot that they have in which there's like some friends that come to the new apartment, and in a certain moment they start shouting, and it's because they open a certain door, and it was like a huge fridge full of Heinekens. And I remember I told this to the marketing managers of Heineken in Amsterdam some months ago, and they told me like everybody remembers that spot, everybody talks about it, and they mention it all the time. So I love the way in which the brand embraced like the assets of Champions League, the music, the colors, the tone, and everything, and took it into their own world. And now you feel like an organic partnership with them, like genuine, like part of the ecosystem, and it feels like one-on-one they come together. So I love it in the way that it's developed.
Perfect, thank you. And then the final question, with just a couple of minutes to go. Thinking back to our trend list, is there anything that you think is missing? Or is there anything that you think might move next year? What do you sort of expect? I'm asking you to think future forward a bit. What change might you expect to see next year?
We were talking about it earlier. Looking at the trends, we were discussing on it. And I mean, for me, some of them are connected. I mean, data, I think it should be up, but there are also measurements that are similar, and technology, because we take the data from technology because it's always connected. So I will say data could be at the 1 position, 2 position more, and also experiences for me are one of the most important. I mean, we saw during the pandemic that everything stopped, the live experience activations stopped, and we see empty stadiums. So we want to be to participate actively in these events. So the experience for me is one of the most important trends. Yeah.
Daniel?
Here's a couple of comments. I think that AI is going to stay around there for a couple of years. Also, women's sports is going to stay above for a couple also of other years. And then the other one to highlight is the one of engagement. And why? Because it's not identified as a trend that is going to be continuing to be growing, but I think engagement is at the heart of sponsorships in sports. Is why a brand enters on a sponsorship, is why they want to communicate and engage with a certain audience, of course, and that one is like the main source that we have for developing this type of agreements, this type of marketing campaigns. So that one I think is vital for this, and it's going to be over there always.
Perfect. We are spot on time, so I think we will end it there. Are we all staying for networking drinks?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
So you can catch us in the networking drinks if you have any other questions. Thank you both so much for the excellent insights. Thank you.
Thank you so much.